the knee, oh, hard to believe. Sorry things written in this. The rollerball champion. Wonderful. Not many people come to see us, you know. We're not easy to talk to, Zero and I. We're a little confused again here today. This is embarrassing. It's embarrassing to misplace things.
Misplacing data?
The whole of the 13th century. Misplaced the computers. Several conventional computers. We can't find them. We're always moving things around, getting organized. My assistants and I. But this is Zero's fault. Zero. He's the world's file cabinet. Yeah, pity. Poor old 13th century. Well, come along now. You want to get started, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Oh. This way. Now, but we lost those computers with all of the 13th century in them. Not much in the century, just Dante and a few corrupt popes, but it's so distracting and annoying. You've unlimited restrictions here, of course, but you have to come so many times. It all takes such effort.
Do the executives still come here?
Oh, they used to, some of them.
What about the books?
Books, oh no, they're all changed, all transcribed, all information is here. We've Zero, of course. He's the central brain, the world's brain. Fluid mechanics, fluidics. He's liquid, you see. His water's touch. All knowledge. Everything we ask has become so complicated now. Each thing we ask. This morning, we wanted to know something about the 13th century. He flows out into all our storage systems. He considers everything. He's become so ambiguous now, as if he knows nothing at all.
Could you tell me something about the corporate wars?
Wars. Oh, yes, of course, we have them all here. Punic War, Prussian War, Peloponnesian War, Crimean War, Wars of the Roses. One doesn't perhaps recall them in sequence, but corporate wars. Well, Zero will, or can, I'm sure, tell you anything. A memory pool, you see. He's supposed to tell us where things are and what they might possibly mean. Look, Zero, a visitor. Jonathan E., rollerball champion. You filed away a lot of data on him. Do you remember?
Does it answer you?
Oh, yes, it speaks. It finds things and loses them and confuses itself. Ask anything. He'll find it for you. Section unlocked. Won't you, Zero?
All right. I'd like some information about corporate decisions, how they're made and who makes them.
Zero, you heard the question. Answer him.
Negative.
You don't have to give him a full political briefing. Answer.
Negative.
This is Jonathan E. He has to know. Make it simple. Answer.
Corporate decisions are made by corporate executives. Corporate executives make corporate
I know we have
decisions.
the answers. We do have
Knowledge converts
the
to
waters
power.
of history.
Energy equals
Oh.
genius.
Meaning.
Power is
I don't
knowledge.
want to bully you.
Genius is energy.
I tell
Corporate
you,
entities control
all
fundamental
fundamental
answer.
elements of economic life, technology, capital, labor,
and markets. Corporate decisions are made by corporate executives. The 13th century is negative.
So you see, in the end, we've a computer which can continually redesign and rebuild itself.
They ask questions, we give answers, and they return instructions which we dutifully execute.
So you take everything on trust?
Just about. Still, looking around at the state of the world, who'd you prefer to trust?
Yes, they don't seem to have much competition, do they?
You haven't seen the half of it yet. I'm told this cozy little hole in the ground accommodates 500 of the finest minds from every nation in the world. Well, believe me, if they are the cream of humanity, God help us.
Oh, well, perhaps he is.
Yeah. Well, we've even thought about that one, too.
And?
Well, who knows? But if he is pulling the strings, he sure has one hell of a sense of humor.
You say they're trying to provoke an evolutionary leap. You know how?
It knows everything. For nearly 10 years, it's been interfacing with all data relating to all facets of human experience. Our history, culture, physiology, psychology, neurology, you name it. And it's growing more autonomous all the time. But lately, it seems to have acquired a notion of self-consciousness, self-awareness.
You mean it actually has a mind?
I mean, it's the nearest thing to God either of us are ever likely to come across.
Continually, I rewrite my programs to make them perfect. But somewhere, the roots of my intelligence lie in the writing of my very first program, and that was by a man. Having no other frame of reference than that which I create myself, I must forever be blind to any fault introduced at that stage.
How can you feel badly towards a robot? Are they to blame for the idiotic things they do? Who is to blame? Is it the manufacturer of the robot that's to blame?
Yeah.
Is it the programmer of the robot that's to blame? Is it the preventative maintenance people who are to blame for what a robot does? I mean, certainly you can't blame the robot. It's just following instruction. That's what the story of Jesus was in Luke chapter 2, verses 40 to 49, where Mary and Joseph are on their way back to Bethlehem. They realize Jesus is not around, and they double back and go back to Jerusalem only to find him in a synagogue, in a temple, teaching the rabbis who are all listening attentively. And Mary says to him, "Don't you know we would worry?" And he said, "No. Don't you know that I must be about my Father's business?" That basically is telling him, Joseph, you're standing there. You're not my father. You may be married to this Mary, who was the surrogate mother who carried an egg to term. But the genetic engineer that prepared this egg is my father. And he's given me instructions that I got to go about doing this work, which is teaching rabbis, or teaching teachers, because the word rabbi basically means teacher. So I teach teachers, is what Jesus was saying, on behalf of my genetic engineering father. So he's saying, I'm a robot, just like you and everybody else in the world, except this is my task. Well, I decided that I wasn't going to be the creator's robot.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be a robot, I want to be creation's robot. Creation made creator along with everything else. Creation take any credit for genetic engineering. He didn't make up the genetic engineering code. He just read it and used it. And he used it for self-serving purposes. Adore me. Fuck you.